Okay, so I'm sitting down again. I guess that means it's time for another movie review. And before I start, a lot of people, are, especially the guys, are going to be questioning why the fuck did you go see The Heat? Of all movies, Brad. Well, the thing is, I did want to see This Is the End, but I did go with a group of friends, and we had more girls than usual in our group this time. They wanted to see The Heat, and I did argue a little bit, but then in the end, it was like, I was a losing battle. So instead of sitting home and, because I didn't want to see this movie, I decided, I'm just going to go out and socialize anyway. So let's fucking see this. And plus, I can come home and make a review and complain to you guys. So this movie wasn't good at all. No big surprise there. I wasn't expecting a lot. Not a big Sandra Bullock fan, never was. A lot of people love her, they find her endearing. I just find her annoying. And she does play the annoying role, but they were going for a beloved annoying role. And there was a lot of girls, not from my group, but from other groups in the theater, saying, "Oh, I love her. Isn't she great? She's so funny. She really, she did a decent job in this film. She really did. A lot of the humor is very forced and just overly awkward at times. Sometimes she's not a terrible actress. I'm gonna say that right now. I don't think that she sucks. I just don't really care for her. The only film that I really, enjoyed her in was Speed because, she really wasn't acting that much. It was just a lot of, screaming and just like little quick things that she says in it, basically instructions she's shouting to the passengers and Keanu Reeves. But anyway, this definitely isn't Speed, so I don't even want to get caught up in this. This is a buddy cop movie, and this is a rarity because you don't see, buddy cop movies with two females in the lead role. The other being Melissa McCarthy, who is, becoming. They're trying to make her the next breakout lead female star here. It's pretty evident. I don't hear a lot about her show Mike and Molly. Quite frankly, from the previews, it does not look that good. It looks like a Roseanne ripoff where, it's not your typical husband and wife, because they're overweight. And, it's good to see that, like, that isn't your typical lead role. And Melissa McCarthy is very funny in this, actually. She does her role better than Sandra Bullock. And I will be the first to admit, I think that she has more talent than Sandra. She really does. She's funny. She as good as a badass. It's just a shame that okay, I like the movie poster for this. They look very badass and they do look like this in the movie. And Melissa McCarthy does hold that there missile launcher. That there missile launcher, she does hold it in the movie. It's just too bad that she never uses it. And the movie is not really an action comedy that it is billed as. It is more comedy than anything, and the action is very little and far between. There isn't much, and the badass part, how they're dressed, is later on. So you got Sandra, who's just basically a nerdy FBI agent. They send her to Boston to help with the drug problem over there. They've got a drug cartel going on. A very cliche story there, but it's been done before, and they've made great movies out of this cliche case and all that. And they do play off of each other very well in this. It's the oddball couple. You could even compare it to the Odd Couple. It's they were going for something similar to 21 Jump Street with that type of oddball humor. And it doesn't work. 21 Jump Street was an excellent movie, and it accomplished what it set out to do. It was a very entertaining, very funny movie. This is a very hit and miss. There's some funny stuff in here, and then there is a lot of humor that totally misses. I don't know. For by far, and a lot of the girls in my group of friends even said this, and they we talked about the movie after, and they expressed, and even I noticed by the reaction from the crowd, the funniest part that a lot of people thought, even the guys that I went with, even said the part where she yells at the Boston Police Department, the officers there, and and starts dragging her finger across the glass. People started laughing hysterically at this. And I laughed too, but then as I thought about it afterwards, it really wasn't that funny. And like, why am I laughing that hard about it? It wasn't that great. I think it was more shock value because you don't expect the nerdy Sandra Bullock to be that vulgar. I mean, because she says things like mother effer in there, you know, even though it's an R-rated movie. And Melissa McCarthy's a total potty mouth in this movie. And she does get the role down very well. She gets it down pat. And I was a big fan of her in this movie. It's just the fact that the screenplay is so fucking random. And most of the time, it just deviates from the main story. See, the thing was, with 21 Jump Street, there was a little bit of deviation, but they mostly did stay on track. And they did provide you with action and a lot of things in that movie without having to go too out there. Like, I really didn't have to suspend my disbelief that much in that for a comedy. And that was very helpful to me as a viewer. The Heat, there's just a lot of moments where not really suspending my disbelief. Well, there is one moment in this movie. And okay, so like for example, I'm just like going to throw a couple examples out there what happens in this movie. Well, one where they're interrogating a suspect. Melissa McCarthy holds a gun to a guy's crotch and she's playing Russian roulette basically with the guy's nuts. That's a good gag. You know, they're, you know, yelling, so this is a moment of a lot of tension, and, you know, it's supposed to get you to laugh because it's like so exciting, and, you know, it's just a moment like meant to play off the audience when really it isn't that funny. It isn't original. It's just, you know, shooting off somebody's nuts. It's been done 10,000 times before. Even Tango and Cash did it, dropping a grenade down a guy's pants. It's been done one way or another. And, you know, and that's where the movie falls apart. It takes jokes, but they could do those jokes with their own style, I suppose. But it's just, man, it's a lot of these jokes just, they fall flat. And one thing in particular, one of my friends, one of the guys actually pointed this out to me. I'm not going to give him a shout out. He does, I don't think he watches my videos, but if you, somehow, Felix, if you see this video, I want to thank him for pointing this out to me. There is one point in this movie where they're in a diner for no good reason, and a random guy just starts choking. And then Sandra Bullock gets the bright idea to make an incision with a dinner knife while he is choking on the floor. Doesn't bother to try to give him the Heimlich or anything, or try to pull it out of his mouth or out of his throat or anything. Grabs a knife, starts cutting a hole in his throat, then takes a straw, and then I don't know, like she was going to blow into it or something, and the guy starts bleeding profusely and starts squirting blood. Why the fuck was that in here? What? What? Why? I was just shocked, and everybody, even the girls in my group, even admitted that this part sucked. It was stupid. It was a failure. Why? Why was that? That was just gross. And you know, I could tolerate that if that was in a horror film, but just having that scene so out of place in a movie that is not really enthralling me all that much to begin with, to have it in there, it's just beyond ludicrous. Where the fuck did they think to put that in? I was like, whoa! My brains were splurging out of my fucking ears. Why? and even the paramedic at the end even says to her, you could have just pulled it out of his throat. And Felix, my friend Felix, telling me that she watched this in the movie. Sandra Bullock was watching it on TV of making an incision in somebody. So I didn't even notice that. Thanks for pointing that out, by the way. If you happen to be watching this video, because I did not fucking notice. I just didn't care to notice, I guess. And so anyway, to wrap this up, I just basically want to say this movie, it doesn't do the poster justice as being badasses. They do dress like that, as I said, but they should have been like that for most of the movie. Now, it does show her transformation from being nerdy to badass. But Sandra and McCarthy should have been kicking ass. They should have been blowing shit up. And why the fuck did this movie cost $43 million? They should have been badass the whole way through. They should have made it like a female version of 48 Hours. It would have been better that way. God, what the fuck am I doing even comparing this movie to 48 Hours? Anyway, it comes off as a fail. As I said, there is some things to like about this. Sandra Bullock, she is a little bit endearing in her role as the goofy, nerdy cop. And McCarthy, I like her. I do. I really do like her as an actress. She came across very likable and funny. It's just that the screenplay was just so random, so goofy, and so poorly written, so amateurish. It seems like it was just written by a random college student, majoring in film, who's, about to either drop out or be kicked out of the school for being such a slacker. They definitely were slacking on this screenplay, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, so, not a big fan. It definitely is a chick flick. There is no bones about that at all. But there have been good chick flicks, as I said, and I don't know. I don't know why they had to be so random in this movie. Why they couldn't take the idea of the poster and just make it badass the whole way through. And women still would have gotten behind it. It didn't need to be so talky. And so, pointless at times with so many stupid scenes like the diner scene with all the blood. Yeah, so I would not recommend you go see this. Even if you are a female, I'm just saying, there are better movies out there that you could find with women in leading roles. This is just, it definitely is not worth it. Even for a couple of laughs, because most of the laughs are miss. Some do hit. But as I said, just like the action in this movie, it's few and far between. So don't even bother.